Hey, so my name is Josh Ferguson. This is bus 740. We're down here in Sedalia, Colorado. This is a 1987 International school bus with a DT 466 engine. And we've been down here together for 3 years. Yeah, it was actually a school district, Cherry Creek High School. And that's actually the school I went to, so there's a personal connection here. When I first did the conversion, I kept everything in the front, the driver area, all stock. Swing door, how could you lose that? It's a nice touch. This rock that I did, it's actually pretty recent. I did it for a festival I went to. It used to be rubber, and it just doesn't really do anything, at least for an entryway. When you see, you know, the bus across, I don't know, football field away, it doesn't grab your eye, but now it kind of grabs your eye, and it's really all mountain pine beetle inside, so the rock kind of brings your eyes into it. So that's the reason why I changed that out. Everything else in the bus is stock school bus because I love it that way. Everything behind's all converted myself. Backer board glued to the metal, then all the grout and just rocks that were just pieced in. Everything's pretty open in here. Try to make it one room. Yeah, I used as much wood as I could, as much stainless steel as I could. It's just what I really like and what I'm passionate about. And this is an 11 window, 66 passenger school bus, total of about 34 feet. Because it's a front engine, you lose about 9 feet with the driver compartment. So I really have about 26 feet long, 7 feet wide. So I'm really working with about 150 square feet of living space. So yeah, this is everything stock. This material actually I lucked out on. It's what it came with, and that's why I stopped with wood here. Yeah, I'm not really sure the purpose for it, because everything, you know, like all school buses, they all have a metal roof with the rivet lines, and then this was just how it was. This is just a 5-gallon water dispenser. I'm kind of special about water. Everything on a plastic tank. You know, I can taste it, so just kind of a convenience thing. I just stop by the store and refill, you know, the 25 cents a gallon on your jugs, and just a preference. And speaker, got it bolted down with a bungee cord. Yeah, when I am plugged in, the solar can't handle it, but I do have a space heater on just those cold mornings. Yeah, I have an 8 battery system, 6 solar panel system, and I can do this for an hour. Yeah, it's about 1,500 watts an hour. You know, this is a home residential space heater, so it's not made for this environment, but it does get the job done, at least for the fall. Absolutely, when you're kind of in the living room area, it's nice to know you're in one enclosure. So it looks a lot better from the back, kind of give you a little bit of privacy from at least the driver windshields. And then also to just kind of create more texture and more things to look at, more storage, you know, with a cubby down below. I have an entertainment center on this side. My couch is my living room, and this is also my bedroom. This is also where I sleep, right up in the front of the bus. So this will pull out into a full. All my blankets and everything get stored underneath. And it's worked really well. But all the people that do their conversions and have a bedroom in the back, I think if I were to do it again, I would do that. Yeah, I'm not much of a furniture builder. This whole conversion I did myself, but I did it after college, and I didn't know too much about carpentry or vinyl making or upholstery. So I went to a store, measured out what kind of measurements I needed for a sofa, made the blueprint around it, and just purchased the sofa, mounted it into the floor. And I love the look of it, but no, it's just something I bought myself. The school bus windows, I just felt, number one, they always leak, these windows. And they're really not great for insulation purposes. So I took out all the school bus windows. They're just held in by 4 bolts and usually cracked silicone. So they're pretty easy to remove. And then you just put up sheet metal, drill in your holes, put in rivets, and then I just cut out simple squares, put in residential tempered windows, and I did 4. I did just kind of opposites, where I did a big and a small in the back, and then big and small on this side. And I feel it brings in just enough light in the mornings. It gives you the privacy, and especially you can add more insulation. You know, I've had this conversion for a year, so I don't know if I can talk about negative consequences about the beetle kill, you know, walls and ceilings, but because this is my first time build, really in general, the tongue and groove was a really great option for me. It's something that kind of pieces together like a puzzle. I think the roof, doing wood on the roof is a very popular idea. and it looks really nice. It guides your whole eye and the whole home and the feel of the bus. So I actually just did the whole thing. It is a lot of wood. I love the conversions that have white, white accents to it. But this is my Rocky Mountain home bus, and I love it about it. I love my rock, my river rock coming into my wood. And I used all my beetle kill from a local yard supply in Denver. And I probably used, I went back probably 3 or 4 times. It always takes more than you think. But I think I achieved a really nice cabin look with this school bus.
Expensive?
No, because it's tongue and groove, because it's a finished product, it is fairly expensive. I would say each board probably costs around $6, and I probably have 300 to 400 boards in here. Yeah, I always get 2 comments on this bus. It's always the trim in my sink, and the trim is really kind of a cheat. All school buses have their accessory wiring in the sides here, and I always wanted access to it in case anything ever went out. So the trim actually just covers the wires on both sides, but it also kind of breaks up all the wood that's together. Going from the bottom of the wall up all the way around. It's a lot, but I think having a dark accent trim piece like that is really great. So that's kind of my cheat. I really like the look, an industrial look, going with exposed conduit. But again, this is my first time build, and I needed everything to be accessible. I could have had an outlet go out. I could have had a line go out. I just wasn't too confident in that. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna have it exposed. I'm gonna do it. And if there's a problem, I'm right there into it. I don't have to tear into my wall. That was my idea of it, is to have some conduit that I could repair myself, not have the headache of going through my wall, and also having the look of, this is what I could do, and this is the challenge that I had, and this is what made it work, and I just went with it. I think all of this, like anything, is all organic. The planning, the blueprints always change, but they've changed for a reason. And all this just happened. The stove just kind of naturally fit here. The sofa, like I planned it there. And I just knew that because this would be my living room and bedroom, I'd be spending a lot of time here. So I wanted my stove close, I wanted a folding table close, and I actually have a typewriter. And so I will spend some of my mornings popping up my table, tucking in my chair, making a fresh pot of coffee, and just typing. I have a little porthole here, light a fire for an hour, call it good. Nice to be in the school bus. I get a lot of questions on the stove. Is it effective? And I think the stove is effective for your second and third seasons, your spring and fall. If it's going to be your only heat source and you're trying to live in it in the winter, and it's Colorado winter, Alaska winter, I don't think you're going to be too happy with it. But if you have a primary fuel source, if you're burning propane, if you're burning wood, and you have this to, as secondary heat, as comfort, I view the Cube as more of a luxury than a primary heating source. It is effective, but yeah, I would burn something like a gas. No, I really view this this home as kind of an office, place of inspiration. I do like to do yoga in my open, area. I like to have my view of my windshield out here. Yeah, really happy with how this turned out, even though it's not really a conventional tiny home like most people. I don't have a bedroom. I don't have even a bathroom. I kind of have a master closet back here, which we can go back there and check out. But this is really just a kind of a bachelor pad, and I can bring it anywhere, and I have brought it to a lot of places. When I built my freshwater tanks and all my plumbing, it all naturally fit on the driver's side of the bus, so I had to have the sink here. I already kind of planned living and sleeping in the front, so the sink naturally fit here. There is a wheel well here, as all school buses have. I had to build on top of it. But it's a good height for me because I have to hand wash my dishes, I have to wash my hair. I don't have a shower in here, so instead of crouching down, everything is just right here. I'm only 5'10". It fits me. I do have a girlfriend that's shorter than me, and it's always funny to hear her always dread going to use the sink. I should have built her a step, but I actually didn't even plan on having a girlfriend. I thought I was going to be out on the road, but life changes, doesn't it? I just built a little utility bin here, keeping just household cleaning items, trash bags, and then this is just a trash and recycling slide out. You really do. If you're building a bus, you really have to be mindful of how rough the road is and how things slide out and your cabinetry and, you know, especially driving pleasure, everything bounces around. So silverware, glasses, you just have to account for everything that's in your home, and it has to be mounted down. So that's been my biggest learning curve, is being on the road, because I definitely underestimated it. But yeah, I just have my trash and recycling here. I have more cooking utensils. I usually, for my main cooking, I actually use a rice cooker, and my rice cooker is totally fine off solar. My main meals are basically fish and rice. That's my main diet. Coffee's just fine off the solar. I can do tea, and it's pretty neat to draw energy from the sun and cook a hot meal. So I have 8 6-volt batteries, all AGM. They're the Liberty 1000 batteries, so I have about 800 amp hours of power. Up top, I have 6 solar panels. They're all 300 watts, 1800 watts total. I have a refrigerator, a water filter, my water pump, a hot water heater that's electric, and then my cooking utensils. And I can go about 2 days without sun, you know, just off the batteries, just on like a normal living day. But being in Colorado, I've never had an issue with losing power. Of course, I can't power an air conditioner. Of course, I can't power a heater. But my day-to-day living, eating, keeping food cold, not a problem at all. I believe the cubic footage of this fridge is 4.7 cubic feet. Has a freezer, has a obviously a smaller, you know, fridge area. I like this, but it's not designed for RV use. This is a residential fridge. I definitely would suggest to someone looking to improve their kitchen or buying a fridge, getting something that will run off 12 volt, because if you're gonna have solar, you're gonna have an inverter. And because my inverter is powering this, my inverter is not 100% efficient. It's probably 80% efficient. So this refrigerator is only running 80% efficiently. So if you bought a 12 volt fridge, maybe even had it 3-way where it also ran off gas, I think that's a great option. This was just what I could afford for now. The only thing, again, as we talked about driving down the road, make sure you strap them, because they will open up and all the salad and all the good stuff that you made that morning for your day is all on the floor. It has happened before, and what a bummer that is. But you live and you learn. And yeah, this really wasn't a planned, you box things in to try and create as much storage as possible. You'll notice that I am 5'10", but the bus is only, I would say 6'1", probably interior height. You know, the main consideration for doing a roof raise is adding all the storage. It's not just the height, it's not just the comfort, it's actually adding upper storage. And you really have to consider that. How much is that worth to you? Because you can kind of see, although I kept an open feel of the bus, I don't really have a lot of things to store, which is maybe a good thing, but everyone does have gear, and I'm kind of a gear junkie, and I wish I had more of that. So this was an attempt for my food, like a open cabinet. Definitely a place for my stove to mount. I wanted a mounting on the wall and on the floor because of how rough everything is. And yeah, it just kind of came to be like this, and I think it flows well. I've had these in for a year. I've probably put 3,000 miles on my bus traveling around. This is all my glassware, so I only have 5 glasses. I keep my coffee, my tea. You could definitely do rice or quinoa, and it's a really simple process. I think a lot of people use this technique because it looks nice and it keeps things fresh. I just use 2 screws into my base, and I've never had an issue with them breaking. I've never had an issue with them falling off. It's a pretty durable system. So above I keep my dry goods. Below, that's just my drinking ware. I untwist it, yeah, grab a glass of milk, grab a glass of water, clean it up and put it back once it's dry. Again, I didn't have a ton of space here, so if you don't have space, you kind of work it and you make space where you have to, and you kind of get creative. And that's the fun thing about this, is you're only limited to so much. So how are you going to achieve that challenge? And this was my way. Not that it's a new idea, but it definitely worked in this instance. This is my master closet, master bedroom. I used to have a closet out here, but I'm in the middle of reconverting this bus. I like to rent it out to people that are interested in tiny living. I think it's important to know, hey, can you really do this for a few days? before you invest in a school bus, before you invest in all the building materials. So I did this conversion a year ago. I do want to add a bedroom back here, but for now, this was where I'm able to shave, you know, get ready in the morning. Had all my clothes here. And then I do have a composting toilet. The composting toilet has worked very well. Really don't have a complaint about it except your fluids. I think your fluids should be connected to a tank just because the one that's provided, it's just too small. You find yourself constantly changing it, and I think there's a better way if you connected it to a tank. This is the Nature's Head composting toilet. It's not a totally pretty sight, but this is actually where I just store all of my solar and electronics. So I have my 50-gallon freshwater tank here, and I have all my solar power on this side. Everything's elevated in case I were to have a leak, but having everything inside too, away from the elements, is really helpful. So yeah, no extra storage, just utilities. It was a privacy curtain. You know, all the times I have taken it to festivals, I really thought this would just be kind of my home, you know, for me. But when you build something like this, what's the saying? If you build it, they will come. I've had friends, let's go to Washington. Let's go to, you know, let's go here. Let's go. And it's like, yeah, let's go. But yeah, I did have to build some privacy sheeting just because some people aren't totally comfortable just going, you know, using the restroom out in the open, which I completely understand. So as far as the interior, I would suggest a few things. If you're thinking about it seriously, I would do a roof raise. The roof raise will allow you to add the appropriate amount of insulation. This is a freestanding vehicle, and I was very surprised how hot the vehicle gets in the summer and how cold it gets in the winter. I think a lot of people are surprised by that, especially the people that keep their school bus windows. I mean, it could be 20 degrees in your bus on a cold winter day, which is insane. So I would definitely build a bathroom with a shower. I would definitely do a roof raise for the height, but mainly for the storage and mainly for the insulation. So this is not a spray foam. The insulation I'm using here is a denim R13. And then I have a 1-inch foam board on the floor. The recycled denim, it was definitely cost advantageous versus the spray foam, but you get what you pay for. I mean, it's, I believe a 3-inch closed cell spray foam is close to R27, and I do think it is a night and day difference. So yeah, if you're going to be four-season living, definitely try roof raise, definitely do your spray foam, add the money for the insulation. I think everyone always suggests that. It's a hard pill to swallow, but you will be very grateful in those cold winter days or hot summer days. But overall, as someone that has no building experience, this was a great challenge for me to tackle. I got to meet a lot of new people, made a lot of new connections, and you know, what a great challenge for myself to get from, hey, point A of not knowing anything to point Z of actually living in this for a year. What it actually feels like to live tiny. It's a lot harder than you think. What it actually feels like to be off the grid. You get an appreciation of how much power we actually use for appliances, like a space heater. I mean, in the past, I would just turn one on. Gosh, maybe you'd leave the room, but it's like, I don't think of that at all. You have to be efficient, you have to use resources well, and you have to respect what you're getting out of it. So definitely a ton of appreciation I've got out of this. Yeah, the floor was a big deal for me because that's usually where your eyes kind of drift. You're either kind of looking up and following lines with the wood, or you kind of following lines here. And this is just a standard click and play laminate. I believe the brand is Pergo Plus. Yeah, and this is just cut to size. I installed it myself, went board by board, and I actually did a really good job. I did leave about 1/8 inch of room for expansion, because if you get them so tight, you'll start to ripple them up. But this has been going on for a year, and really no creaking, no rippling, no cracking. It's been a really great floor. Now that we've checked out the inside, let's go out and check out the outside. As I said before, this is the DT466. Because I love mechanical engines, I am gonna pop the hood and just show you guys how easy it is, and also how much room you get with a front engine bus. If you are on the side of the road, you are your own best person to be there. And if you have to fight a computer, you're not gonna be successful. If you're gonna, have an issue here, at least you can bring a couple wrenches and have a chance. And you know, the reality of the situation of a school bus is they're old, used field vehicles, and they're not perfect. When they do work, they're amazing. When they don't, they're a headache. But getting in touch with your engine, I chose a front engine bus because of how much room. You can get on top, you can come from the sides. You do lose your living capacity on the inside, but because this is a 1987 bus, I did have to rebuild this engine, and I'm really glad I rebuilt it with how much space I had. There's a lot of room that you can get on this side. So when I rebuilt this engine, if you're looking at an international bus, you're either going to have basically two models: a 444 motor, which is like a 7.3 power stroke, or the 466. The 466, which is here, is the wet sleeve design. You can leave that engine block in, and they have wet sleeves in the pistons. So if you have a piston fail, which is what I had, you can take that sleeve out and rebuild just the piston and that sleeve. However, in a 444, if you have that motor go, you have to remove that whole block and get it honed. So it just adds more time, it adds more expense. The in-frame rebuilds I highly recommend. And Cummins, a 5.9 or an 8.3, those are also great motors with the same wet sleeve design. So that's what I would suggest. My 466, this is a 210 horsepower, so I really can only go 60 miles an hour. I do know some buses can go faster, especially the 8.3 Cummins at the 6-speed, they can go 75, 80. I probably in the future would suggest and would buy an 8.3, and I actually have bought one. I'm just kind of deciding if I want to convert another bus. But yeah, I don't know if I ever want to go past 65. It does take a while to get to your location, but it is your home, so you do have to take the time. You don't want to be making drastic moves anyway with your school bus. And enjoy the ride. So if you are wanting to get somewhere, I don't know if a school bus is really the right application, but if you are more in the moment and more about the journey, then a school bus is a great option. But yeah, you should have the expectation that you're only going to go 60 to 65. Yeah, I've really stuck to highways. The biggest thing I've really ever done is I went to Loveland Pass and camped out at some of the ski areas up there. It does great in the snow. I have to bring auto chains, or not even auto chains, but just snow tire chains. But overall, like my climbing the hills, back roads, I haven't really done any like Moab desert trips like that, really just mountain trips, and I definitely would trust it. I have a pretty high skirt. I'd probably say close to 3 feet high, at least on my, or maybe 2 feet high. Yeah, for the applications that I'm using it for, I've been great. But if you are going to be going deep into Moab or deep into Arizona, maybe a van, that you can throw a 4x4, tires and transmission on, because all these school buses, they're all rear wheel drive. Yeah, school bus tires, they're really hit and miss. If you do buy privately, if you do buy at an auction, be considerate of your tire condition, because I bought these new. They did not come with the bus, and your steer tires are about $900 for the pair, and your rears are about $1,200. So a lot of people are surprised that, sure, maybe they found a great deal online for a bus, but they're about to pay just as much, for tires as the bus. And it happens, and it's great. But once you buy it, they'll be good for 5 to 6, 7 years, especially if you cover them up with a cover so they don't get sun checked. But yeah, no, the tires, they're really expensive, but that's how it goes when you have a rig like this. I think, to be completely honest with you, I think I will have a problem in the future, just because the nature of wood and because it's exterior. I did stain them, and I will probably have to continue staining them, but they will probably rot out. At the time, I wasn't, while I was building, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to outline them with and trim them with. I think I achieved the look that I wanted, but if they do rot out, I will probably redo it. I haven't figured out what I would like to replace it with, but some sort of metal, some sort of plastic, just something that can endure the elements. I chose the brown to reflect the wood on the inside to kind of break up my gray metal. And, with the square angle holding it all in, it kind of does look like an adventure vehicle. I'm stoked about the look of it. but the practicality is, in the reality, is I will probably have to replace it. The roof is painted just with a Rust-Oleum white oil enamel paint. There's no special coating. I didn't take the time to do it. I do know it's helpful and I do know it works. So I would of course suggest it, but I don't have any comment on how a roof sealant works in my scenario. I actually avoided it because I have 6 solar panels up there. I really thought all my reflection was going to be happening anyway. The main thing, if you are trying to keep your school bus cooler, keeping this steel as cold as you can. Once the sun hits that steel, you might be looking at a 180 to 200 degree temperature on the sides, which means that heat's radiating everywhere in the bus. And it's really hard to keep a steel tube cool. I mean, you can have an air conditioner running all day and it's very difficult to. But if you were able to purchase an awning on both sides, pop those out, and have your solar on the roof, keeping your sides on your steel cooler, you might be able to save 5 to 10 degrees inside your bus. It's a pretty big deal. I painted the bus myself. I do help people paint. I do have a shop back. Basically, this is my whole life. I started out with school buses, doing a transportation company in Denver. I've been on the side of the road, probably more than I have been driving school buses, but that has also taught me so much about traveling, about patience, and about obviously the rigs themselves. So I've probably driven, with the transportation and helping people, I've probably driven over 50 to 60 school buses. And they're all pretty neat because they all have different quirks, they all have different personalities, and there's no such thing as the perfect bus. There's just a good bus and a good fit for a situation. Okay, so yeah, my name's Josh. I'm out here in Sedalia, Colorado. My business is Tiny Visions Inc. You can find my links in the description below. My website's tinyvisionsinc.com, and my Gmail account is tinyvisionsinc@gmail.com. And basically this is what I do. This is kind of like a bus heaven. This is kind of like a Dr. Seuss factory, at least out here in Sedalia. I have several things to offer to people if you are interested in doing school buses. I will be renting this out as an Airbnb about spring of 2019. I really suggest coming out here and staying in a school bus for Saturday and Sunday. See if the tiny living really works. See if you need a roof raise. See what your power restrictions are. It's really nice to try it before you buy it. Well, the nice thing is when you are here, I do have a shop. You can check out roof raises I've done, paint jobs I've done, even take a bus out for a spin. I do have my CDL license and I've trained people, and I love taking that person from discomfort to complete confidence and control. It's really neat to see someone. It doesn't actually take that long. So please check out my website. Please check out my link if you're interested. Please get in contact with me. And yeah, can't wait to check out your build.